Hi, I'm Molly. I'm a sports massage therapist. I own the business myself, and I've been doing it for 2 years now. So I see sports massage therapy as maintenance. So you go to a physio to get fixed, you come to me to prevent yourself going to the physio. So it's a form of deep tissue therapy. You sort out knots, adhesions, all that kind of stuff. You break down sort of anything in the muscle that's not meant to be there. You fix things, so you lie all the muscles back flat again. So for those that don't know what a knot is basically, this is the best way to describe it. So if you imagine dry spaghetti, you know how it all lies down in a nice little line like so. When you do exercise or you move around, all the knots, all the spaghetti starts to move around and it creates like little tiny knots in the muscle. So all the fibres sort of start to get a bit like this. My job, come along, smooth that out, make it look like dry spaghetti again, all nice and flat and in one line. So that's basically what I do. So it all started when I was at university. I decided to do a course in sports massage and kind of fell in love with it and decided that was something that I would like to make a career out of. And then when I finished university, I set the business up and yeah, it kind of all went from there really. So this was the first one out of uni, but before that, when I was still at university in the summer jobs and stuff like that, I worked in a cafe. So I was in charge of sort of training up new staff and organising stock and stuff like that, and yeah, general waitressing. Yeah, definitely learning to work with people. I don't get too many complaints, but if I ever do, I now know how to handle them. And yeah, it's just a communication thing, definitely, and a bit of leadership as well, because I was in charge of some staff. So yeah, leadership was definitely something that has helped me, but mostly communication. So every day is different depending on how many clients I've got in and what sort of day it is. So most of the time in the mornings when I've got no clients, it'll be doing accounts, sorting out my website, sorting out my Instagram, and then it's a case of coming into the clinic mostly in the afternoons because most people work in the mornings. And so I start in about 3 o'clock usually and then run through till the evening, and it's just back to back with different clients. And every client's different. It can be like a postural issue, or it can be like a sports related injury, or anything just from like I'm a bit tight because I work too hard in the gym and I don't foam roll. I think it's helping people. I had a client the other week that got off the bed and he's been in pain for, I think he told me it was like 3 weeks or something. And he got up and he was like, oh my God, I can move again. And he kind of was like putting his arms above his head and he was like, I haven't been able to do that in like forever. And yeah, that was just so rewarding for me to see, because I've helped him and he's a painter and decorator. So for him, he needs his body to work for him to do his job. And so that's like amazing for me because I've helped him to do that. So that's definitely the most rewarding when someone says to me, I couldn't do this and now I can do this, and that's just great. That's why I do my job. That's why I like to help people, definitely. I think because the body, like everyone's bodies are different, and every body is different in terms of like personality and talking to people. So the challenge is physically with the body is learning how to get the body to do what you want it to do. So I know that muscle needs to be released, but the muscle might be telling me, get off me, it's too sore, or get off me, it's, you know, not going to work. And so I had to learn to adapt my sort of technique or pressure or something like that to try and get the muscle to respond. The other thing that's quite challenging is if I get a difficult client that doesn't understand like how a sports massage works, and they kind of not question me, but they kind of say, why are you doing that? Or that hurts too much, should that be hurting? And it's the ones that ask me a lot of questions that it's quite, that's a challenge for me, because yeah, it's a fun challenge, but sometimes I just want to be like, it just is, that's just the way it is. Like I just have to be a bit mean, I'm sorry. So before I went to uni to do sports science, I had a feeling I might want to do physio or something like that. So I had looked into doing physio before I did the sports science, but just decided that it wasn't for me. So when I kind of was doing my degree, my mum actually said to me, my friend's daughter is doing a sports massage diploma. Are you interested? And I kind of, like I said, I've always wanted to work with people, with my hands and stuff like that. So I was like, oh, well, maybe that is something I would like to try. So I actually got the course set up at my university in the end. I got in contact with a sports massage company and they said to me, can we set one up in Swansea? So I did the course, fell in love with it and didn't really look back. That was it. I was like, oh, that's what I want to do. Because before that, I had no idea. I genuinely didn't know what I wanted to do. And did the course, and it turned out that was for me in the end. So the course is a diploma. So it was like over 4 months, but it's like drip feeding. So you kind of do weekends, and then you have to do case studies independently, and then feed back your case studies, and then you have to do it's like a dissertation, but not a dissertation, like a couple of little essays and stuff on sports massage, what it is, a specific case study that you're interested in, and hand that all in. And then you have your final exam, which was terrifying. You had to bring a body in and work on a body part while someone was walking around the room watching you, answer their questions just live, one-on-one, like, what's this muscle do, where does it start, where does it finish, and you're like, oh my goodness, like. And then you do like a multiple choice and long answer questions at the end, and then you hopefully pass. Massively. I think the physiology side of things, I already knew a lot about the muscles, and actually I kind of knew how they worked, how they functioned, how they produced energy, how they stored things, all that kind of stuff. So definitely that helped. But I think some stuff was new, so sort of the origins, insertions, that kind of stuff. We hadn't got into that much detail in the lectures and stuff, but I did still know the main muscle groups. It was only the little tiny ones that were the new ones. I think do your research in the area you're going to set it up. See your competition, see what they're charging as well, because I had to match my prices in with what the area is, because you don't want to go in there being the cheapest and you don't want to be the most expensive either. You want to be somewhere in the middle. I think just look up the place that you're going to work as well. So for example, where I work, I know that there's a client base for me because of the gym. I know that the people that work here are all knowledgeable on sports massage and they help me to bring my clients in. So that's quite important, that you either have a client base available to you, or you have, so like a gym say, or you know that there's an area that it will fit quite well, whether the gym's local or something like that. And set up an Instagram account, because that has been amazing for me. Like, I've got so much business through my Instagram. I didn't think it would, but you just follow people that are into fitness, and then they see people coming and people tag you in things, and then that's word of mouth. That's your free advertising that you're not having to pay for by doing that. And you're going to have to do some free stuff, because I did. Like, I went into Surrey Police and did a free wellness day with them, and that's got me a few more clients, but it's also reached people that you wouldn't necessarily reach before. And I've got a lot more experience now. If a police officer comes into me, I now know their target areas, what's going to be tight, all that kind of stuff, because I put the stab vest on. They let me put the stab vest on, so I now know how heavy that is all across the top here. So even if the policeman's like, oh no, I'm fine, my shoulders are fine, I'm like, I bet they're not. So do some free stuff, because you'll learn a lot from your free stuff and you'll reach more people than you think you will. Sporty, very sporty. Hockey was my number one, and then netball and tennis kind of thrown in. Academic, I'm not dyslexic, but I'm borderline dyslexic. So I do struggle with certain things. I had to get all the testing done and it did come back that I wasn't, but I still did struggle. So I was a BBC student at school, that's what I got in my A-levels, and then I went to university and ended up nearly getting a first because I found something that I loved so much. So yeah, at school, I did struggle at school academically, I have to say, I definitely did. But I just put the hard work in and it did end up getting me to the right place for me. But yeah, it was all right. Always chatty, but always got the work done. I think that was the exact phrase they used to use. So I was like, oh, well, I get the work done. You've got to be able to communicate and understand and listen. Like, some people come in here and it might not be a case that they want me to listen to like what's going on in their body. They might just want me to listen to what rubbish day that they've had. So your listening skills are massive because it's a trust thing. Like, if they trust you, they'll relax, then you can work into their body more. But yeah, communication and listening are definitely the two skills that you must have for this job. You've got to get on with people, or else, you know, you're not going to have a client base if you're not very nice to people like you. A lot with PTs, especially where I am in the gym environment, it's a lot with personal trainers. I have worked with chiropractors in the past, and actually with osteopaths as well, because I've kind of moved around in different circles. And I did work alongside some physios as well, and especially where I work as well, there's a physio that I refer to. And you've got to, as a sports massage therapist, I can't diagnose something. I can give you a clinical opinion and tell you what I think it is, but I'm not actually allowed to say this is what it is, whereas a physio can. So yeah, you interact a lot with a physio. Another piece of advice would be to, if you're going to be a massage therapist, have a physio that you trust, that you can refer clients to, and vice versa. So yeah, PTs, physios are the main two, and then in the past it was chiros and osteos as well. So I now have a room, which is brilliant. So that for me was my area of growth. I started off working for someone else and they paid me like a set amount per client. And then my goal was to get a space of my own and work from that. So I'd always say, like, start off somewhere like that because you learn a lot, and then grow into creating your own business out of the space. I want to add some more sort of strings to my bow. So I want to get a reflexologist in here to come and work alongside me, but then I also want to do a few more courses like pregnancy massage, potentially cupping, but some people don't really like that, so I'm getting some client feedback on whether that would be a good one to do. A little bit of dry needling maybe. So yeah, it's just adding more strings to the bow, more things to offer to your clients along sort of the same lines of what you already do. It's just sort of, offering people more. So I wish that I knew a lot more about accounts, definitely, because I have to do them all myself. I do have a friend who helps me, and he's brilliant, but definitely about taxes, etc., everything that goes into that. I wish that I knew a little bit more about website design as well, because I did all that myself, and I got a brilliant sort of company online that gave me a template and everything, but I did have to do it again all myself to try and cut costs, because it's expensive, it's really expensive. So yeah, those are two definitely the things that I wished I knew. And like, it's hard, but I wish I knew how hard it was. You're constantly like having to put social media out there to get people in. You're working with people that aren't always reliable, and they might cancel on you last minute, and you kind of have to learn to deal with that, and do you charge them, do you not charge them, like, will you lose a client by doing that? So yeah, there's a couple of little hurdles that you need to kind of know about. Mentally is actually harder than you think it is, because therapy is a word that people see as, yes, I'm sports massage therapy, but at the same time, like, people just offload. So mentally, I need to put up almost like a barricade sometimes, because they just offload all the stuff that's going on in their day that's been rubbish, that's going on at home, that I then have to kind of just cut myself off from. It's not that I'm being cold, but I just leave that at work and not take it home. So mentally, it's a hell of a lot harder than you think it is. Physically, you get used to it. Like, when I first started, like, this part of my hand was just, oh my goodness, I thought, oh, what have I done? I can't do this forever. So yeah, that's physically hard. But actually the hardest thing is I do play hockey, and now I'm having to think about myself and my body, and I've got to protect my hands, and I didn't think about that before. I'd go in for a tackle and everything would be great. And now in the back of my head, I say, oh my goodness, like, if I mess up my hand, I can't work. So yeah, that's quite a big thing. Yeah, I think don't be scared. That's the one thing, because I came out of uni and everyone said to me, you're setting up your own business at 21, what on earth are you doing? Like, that's terrifying to a lot of people because they don't understand it. It's a lot easier than you think it's going to be. It's hard work. If you put the hard work in, it's easy, if that makes sense. you know, like, just don't be scared to do something that's a bit off the beaten track, because that's fine. And if you need to go and work somewhere and do something first and that doesn't work out, don't be scared to try something else. And internships are the best. Like, I've got so many friends that have done internships and then they found out, no, that wasn't right for me, so they do another one in a different field. Yes, that's perfect for me, and now they've got a career in that field because they tried before they did it. So just don't be scared to be like, I have to get a job, I need to work now. No, take your time, figure out what you want to do, try things before you do it, internships, etc., etc., and then, yeah, you'll find what you want to do.